Yo, 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 what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So I don't know what's going on StreamYards, but it's showing that there's 0 people in the chat, and I know that that's not true because I see all of you making comments. So let's just see if we can get this thing to display the actual amount of people that are in here. If you guys are in here and you can hear me okay, throw a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If that 0 is accurate, then I guess I won't see anybody. Shout out to my man Law. Good to see you, bro. So I don't know if you guys know, but recently Tucker Carlson interviewed Russell Brand. All right. Now, I got a question. How many people are familiar with Russell Brand? If you guys are familiar with Russell Brand, let me know. All right. Okay. Yeah. See, are you guys seeing 0 in here? If is it showing 0 people in the chat on your screen? Like that's crazy. On my screen, it's showing 0. All right. So, okay. So people are familiar with Russell Brand. All right. My question is, how many of you all rock with Russell Brand? Like, do you rock with him? Like, is that your man's? Do you just watch him for information in certain topics? He's got a huge YouTube platform. You know what I'm saying? I think if I'm not mistaken, he's got like 6 or 7 million subscribers. He might actually have more than that. I've watched him once or twice. He all right. You know what I'm saying? Not my favorite, not my least favorite. If we're going to talk about content creators like that, me personally, I would say that I like Jimmy Dore better than I like Russell Brand. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know what I'm saying? He all right. So what Tucker Carlson is interviewing him about is the harmful effects of COVID-19 lockdowns. All right. So before we get into this, my question is for you all, do you all feel that the lockdowns were a good idea? Or do you feel, you know what I'm saying, like that we could have done better? That wasn't necessarily the way that we should have went about things. You know what I'm saying? There were other things that we could have done, and the ball was somewhat dropped. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that those lockdowns were a good way to manage C19? Do you think they helped society, or do you think that they kind of possibly made things a little bit worse? And let me know why. And we're going to see if we agree or disagree with Russell Brand's take. And look at the screen, guys. Oh, so on it's showing 9 on you guys' screen. Okay. On mine, it's not showing any. I'm not seeing anybody on the screen. It's saying that I have 0 people in here. You know what I'm saying?
So, as we told you, we sat down yesterday with Russell Brand, the comedian, actor, and now, frankly, kind of a public intellectual, for about an hour and a half on our show, Tucker Carlson, today. We want to share more of it tonight. In particular, Brand spent a lot of time thinking about and telling us about the COVID lockdowns. And the point of them was maybe the clearest explanation we have heard of what we've just lived through. Here it is.
I think COVID provided a lens through which we could scrutinize the machinery of power and how the intentions and agenda of power are able to play out, coalesce, and let's call it conspire when a crisis occurs. How a globalist tendency to increase surveillance, a big tech appetite to capture data, and a comparable appetite within government converge. As the great American comedian George Carlin used to say, there is no need for conspiracy where interests converge. It seems that even if at its advent it was a legitimate crisis, and I certainly wouldn't make any contention around that, it was opportunistically handled in order to enhance regulation and control at a time where regulation and control are increasingly difficult to implement as people are more suspicious of institutional power. So in a sense, the best way to understand COVID, I believe, is to take COVID out of it and look at how the institutions, both corporate and government, behaved around it. How did they benefit? How did they utilize it? What narratives did they disseminate, and which narratives did they control and curtail? Even with the recent text messages from our health minister at that time, Matt Hancock, you can explicitly see it was exploited. Oh no, we need to scare people. Is there any way high net worth individuals can get into the country? All these conversations.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. Here's something that I find interesting, right? Russell Brand is a liberal, right? And yeah, I agree, Law. YouTube pushes that guy's channel heavy. Facts. Do you know that there's people on YouTube that literally do this same kind of content? You know what I'm saying? The same kind of content that I do on this page. Because as you guys know, this page is specifically C19 content, C19 healthcare content. This is specifically that kind of content, right? And for whatever reason, this channel doesn't grow. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is also really quick to strike this channel. I've won most of my appeals on this channel, but YouTube is really quick to strike this channel. I'm trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So help your boy out by smashing that like button and also by sharing the video out. When it comes to Tucker Carlson, do you notice that he always interviews a specific type of liberal? You know what I'm saying? Isn't it interesting? But he always has antagonistic exchanges with other people. But when it comes, you know, Jimmy Dore was on there. He was on Tucker Carlson. Russell Brand is on there. You know what I'm saying? They've had people that are quote unquote liberals on there. But pay close attention to who Tucker Carlson attempts to become a male Karen when he's talking to. Do you guys notice that? Now, here's my question. Why does that happen? That's the question.
But many people that are cynical about the behavior of the powerful believed were happening were indeed happening. The way that natural immunity was discussed proved to be true, i.e. that natural immunity is effective. They probably understood earlier than they admitted that natural immunity was effective, and for reasons that, well, what could it be? What could be the reason?
Yeah, I agree. If you guys agree with Unsunken, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Wacky libs only. Yeah. Yeah, big facts. That's what they do. That's what they put on there. It's interesting how they do that. You know what I'm saying? Isn't it interesting how they do that? Why do they do that? They love everybody, I thought.
That a monetizable solution to COVID was prioritized over a non-monetizable. Is there anyone involved in the situation that has a profit motive? Let's look at the data. So what it was just revelatory, like the apocalypse always will be. The apocalypse is revelation of all what was always there. Corruption, convergence of interests, alliances. This is not conspiratorial. This is the moot recital of economic interests and the ordinary movements of the powerful. If people can...
Now, here's my question. I got a question for you guys. Don't you guys think that it's just sick? It's just sick how both political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, weaponized and politicized a global pandemic. People died as a result of that. Let me guess, like everybody that died as a result of C19 is a liberal. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just doing the optimal treatment to contain it, the government politicized it. And people ran with it, man. They ran with it. The government politicized it first, and then people started politicizing it. Let me ask you guys a question. Did that help anything? And they monetized it too. Yeah, big facts. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, they monetized it. Twin wings on the same bird. Shout out to my man Fantizzi. My man Fantizzi says, I agree, Rob. Both parties are sick. They are both sick. And I'm going to tell you guys, when probably after this week, I know anybody who watches my channel, you guys know I've been trying to go hard in the paint. Not only have I been trying to go hard in the paint on Blacklight Revelations 1 and 2, even on the, as Torian Rain calls them, on the variant channels, I've been going hard. And the reason why is because I'm telling this, we are going to change this political season. We may not win anything, we may not get anything, but there's going to be a new face on how politics are done. And that new face is going to be competence, intelligence, and a full array of information in order to deal with nonsense. And nobody's backing down. We're going to have large platforms that are able to spread the message. We're going to be uncontrollable. See, the problem now is that things can be controlled. And we don't have control. We're going to have control. We're going to have accurate, laser accurate information, reports, updates. And regardless, because there may be people who are hardcore conservatives, there may be people that are Democrats, right? There may be people that are in the middle. It doesn't matter, because what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that we are all politically competent and we have a minimum set of things that we all agree on across the board. And those are the things that we will relentlessly attack all parties with. If you're a conservative, I might laugh and roast you a little bit, but I got people that are conservatives that watch my channel. It's all good. They know what time it is. There's people that are Democrats that watch my channel. It's all good. They know what time it is. Because when it comes down to it, it's about attacking the issues. It's about dealing with the disparities that we have. The disparity-based politics. The United States, this election cycle with Joe Biden as the president, has effectively ignored every single disparity that Black people have. And that's before we even get into a reparations conversation. Before we even get into a reparations conversation, disparities have been ignored. Let me ask you guys let me ask you guys a question. What group of people, and thank you, Roots Tracker, for letting me know about the 20. If you guys haven't smashed that like button, please make sure you guys smash the like button. Let me ask you guys a question. What group of people had the highest incident and the highest amount and the highest increase in hate crime charges against them? Does anybody know? What group? Anybody got the answer? It shouldn't be that difficult. I guarantee you that if you guess it, if you even guess it, you'll probably get it right. Anybody that watches TD Hip Hop Media, who's a subscriber to TD Hip Hop Media, if you watch his videos, you're probably aware. Us, yes, facts. Shout out to Roots Tracker, shout out to Unsunken One, shout out to Lemon Lucas, shout out to Fantizzi, shout out to my man DJ Elmo. What up with it? Yes. U-Law, yeah. Volvo 2 Love, yeah. If that's the case, that's a disparity, right? The ideal number is 0 hate crimes against anybody. The people who have the most hate crimes against them are the people that are supposed to be protected through government intervention. Why hasn't that happened? We have a racial wealth gap, a Black-white wealth gap, to be specific. That hasn't been addressed at all. Listen, Silicon Valley Bank, literally within the last week, just had a balance sheet gap, right? They had a assets and liabilities gap, and immediately the government is moving to fix it. And their asset liability gap is not because of long-term ongoing systematic oppression, but they fixed it immediately. So you'll deal with the bank's disparities before you deal with ours. We're going to grow our platforms so large that these people will have no choice but to not ignore us. And then we're going to hit them with the hard questions. And if we don't hit them with the hard questions, we're going to destroy them with their political career. They're going to get relentless attacks with truth. And that's one of the reasons why I have the bots in the chat. Because anytime you're using YouTube, not only do you run the risk of your channel being deleted, you run the risk of your channel being demonetized, and you run the risk of that happening even if you didn't do anything wrong. That could possibly happen at some point with my channel. So that's one of the reasons why I encourage people, if you are so kind as to donate, please try to start getting in the habit of using the bots. Because just like what happened with Blacklight Revelations 2, one day the monetization might not be on. You know what I'm saying?
And honor one another and talk to one another in good faith, and recognize that anybody is like this whole debate between like that I've sort of felt a little bit around me even for coming here. I feel like it used to just be normal that someone in your family would be a conservative, and someone in your family would be liberal, and someone in your family would be socialist, and someone in your family would be trans. And
see, like, no, that's not normal. Let me ask you guys a question. Is what Russell Brand is describing, are those normal conditions? We got, how many people do we got in here? Let me see. I'm gonna try to look at this thing. Okay, so we got 18 people watching. What Russell Brand just named, are those normal conditions that any of you all have in your family?
talk to one another in good faith, and recognize that anybody is like this whole debate between like that I've sort of felt a little bit around me even for coming here. I feel like it used to just be normal that someone in your family would be a conservative, and someone in your family would be liberal, and someone in your family would be socialist, and someone in your family would be trans, and someone in your family would be gay, and different races are coming together.
Notice how he said different races are coming together, but he didn't say different races in the same family. Notice that. Do you notice that? He said you'd have, before races, he said you'll have someone in your family that's trans. He never said anything about having different races in your family. What does that imply? I think it's just, I don't know what that implies as far as his personal belief or what he's saying by that. But what I find interesting is that that was excluded as not within the family structure. Now, as you guys know, I have a diverse family. I don't have any kind of problem with people being with other races and different things like that. I'm not one of those people. But I just find it interesting that he left that out. And this guy is supposed to be a liberal. What do you guys think that means? See, because like my thing is that means something. What's he implying by that? And shout out to my man Unsunken One. Unsunken One says, see, he caught that. And see, I caught it too. So the thing that I find interesting, as Russell Brand is describing this quote unquote ideal family structure, it's more likely that you will have a different, you know, like a trans or LGBTQ person in your family than it is that you'd have a different race in your family. In some instances, races come together and make families. See, races can actually come together and naturally make families. You know what I'm saying? What he talked about, that alphabet community, that can't happen. You know what I'm saying? But he's saying that that's the normal and everything else isn't. And I got to agree with, hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, it means he's catering to the audience that's watching. So let's actually unpack that. What does that imply about the audience that's watching? Because those are the very people that claim that they see no color. Those are the very people that say that there's no such thing as racism. So it's interesting how really it's interesting how we have to phrase things like that to quote unquote cater to that audience. I think people should just pay attention to that. Or here's another thing that I might want to suggest. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, and to everybody in the comment section, if you guys agree with me, what if that's actually something that liberals and conservatives see eye to eye on? And he said that subconsciously. What if that's something that they're actually on the same page about? See, now, if you ask me, it's a combination of what, hey, Mr. Knickerbocker said and a combination of what I said. I do agree with, hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, that he's catering to that audience, but I also believe that subconsciously that's what he believes. And notice how Tucker Carlson, who catches everything, didn't feel the need to jump in and say anything.
This is part of who we are. And if it isn't part of who we are, it's certainly part of who we need to become. And it's something that we need to deeply, deeply encourage immediately in the moment now.
And you think that can be done?
It's the only option, and therefore it cannot be discussed. It must be
Shout out to
implemented.
DSA.
Because the alternative we can see from the tendency towards geopolitical disaster, a set of centralized interests who seem to unconsciously be directing us towards nuclear Armageddon, if not with Russia, then with China. They have to be interrupted. It simply has to happen. There is no choice. And in a situation where there's no choice, human ingenuity and our collegiate spirit must take over. We have no option but to find it in ourselves, to forgive one another, to move forwards, to love one.
To forgive one another and move forward. What is he? See, this is what I'm saying. To forgive each other and move forward. Now, what could he possibly be talking about? Forgive each other and move forward. Who's done anything to anybody? Forgive each other and move forward. As long as we forgive and move forward on certain terms, right? Russell is absolutely babbling. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And I got to agree with Fantizzi. Hey, shout out to Sophia. What's good with it, Sophia? Fantizzi said, liberals and conservatives are one and the same to me. Both despise true black empowerment. And I agree. And the reason why I agree is because they understand that what's needed is black crippling in order for our capitalist system to work. Sophia said Russell's whole career is babbling. Facts. Big facts. So if we become empowered, that takes away from that security mechanism of always having a bottom floor for other people to be able to say, well, at least I'm not doing as bad as that person, as well as it also takes away from us not having any assets and constantly spending our money every other place. You know what I'm saying?
One another, values that may seem a little hokey and old-fashioned because they...
You missed it, Sophia. We finally got DJ Elmo to call in one time. When you was on your little LOA or MIA or whatever you had going on, taking the social media vacation, DJ Elmo finally called in. Y'all could have ganged up on me and been calling me all kind of wankers and bloody this and bloody that. You know what I'm saying?
Pertain to things that are ineffable and difficult to describe, but are vital and that we all understand.
Well, that was pretty intense.
All right, yeah. So I've never seen an interview where Tucker Carlson didn't say anything, and that was a first for me. You know what I'm saying? So that was interesting. But I do agree with some of the points that that Russell actually made, though. You know what I'm saying? He did actually make some points that I agree with. So there's an article that came out from the Blaze, and what this article says is that there was a former CDC director, and he details 3 damning events that raised eyebrows about the Wuhan lab and how Dr. Fauci iced him. Okay. Now, if you guys have been watching the content, if you guys go back and watch some of the older videos on this channel, you know what I'm saying? That's just the Brit way of showing love. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We talked about some of these things that took place. There were red flags in the beginning. I'm going to ask you guys a question. What are some of the red flags that happened in the beginning of the C19 pandemic? You guys know? What were they? So now here it says Dr. Redfield testified before Congress on Wednesday, noting 3 suspicious events at the Wuhan Institute of Virology that strengthened his long-held conviction that C19 came from. I'm gonna, and for this right here, I'm gonna say CL, because that last live stream that they did, that I did, believe it or not, they believe it or not, they struck it, and I had to appeal it, and we were talking about, you know, the whole lab thing. So I'm gonna say CL. Okay. If you guys agree with Carlton, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. A belief, he says, got him boxed out of transformative conversations. Now, do you guys remember what happened? Do y'all remember when Kim Iverson was on the Hill? If you guys remember Kim Iverson being on the Hill, give me a thumbs up. Now, if you still happen to watch the Hill, you'll notice that Kim Iverson is no longer on the Hill. One of the reasons why she's not on the Hill anymore is because some of the questions that she wanted to ask. I'm gonna shout out to my man AB Promotions. I'm gonna show you guys this video real quick. It's a 6-minute video of Kim Iverson explaining why she was removed from the Hill. How many people are aware of this? If you guys were aware of this, give me a thumbs up. If you guys were not aware of this, give me a thumbs down. And we talked about this before on this channel, but I think it's important to go back over it based on the nature of what we're talking about now. You know what? Just like how my microphone was messed up when I first started this morning, I don't even have this. I don't even have a video shared on the screen. You don't. Oh, you don't like Kim Iverson? She alright. You know what I'm saying? She alright. You a crystal ball fan, huh? For some reason, a lot of them Democrats, a lot of them liberals, a lot of the Jimmy Dore crowd, they don't really like crystal ball. You don't watch the Hill, Roots Trackers? I read articles from the Hill. I haven't really watched the Hill since Kim Iverson was taken off of there, or since she left. I did watch it when Crystal Ball and what was the guy named Sager? I did watch it when they were on there. I think the thing that Crystal Ball did that I appreciated the most was when she embarrassed Bill Mayer. That was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? But aside from that, you know, to me, she just ain't nothing but an average everyday news anchor. I don't think she's like an amazing journalist or anything like that.
So as some of you may have heard, I am no longer with Hills Rising. And I know many of you want to know what happened and why there was a sudden
Thank you, Roots
departure,
Tracker.
So I'm here to explain. Now,
we got 25 people in here, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, remember, we got a goal of 1K by the end of the year. Help us meet that goal by hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button. And also, please make sure you guys share the video out to your other social media.
year ago, when I joined Rising, I promised the viewers that though I was working on a corporately owned media show, I wasn't being censored or held back in any way, and I wouldn't be there if I was. Prior to joining Rising, I was doing my own show independently. I was independently funded, and one of the benefits of being independent is that there are no corporate overlords or establishment types meddling with the content.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys agree with that? What she just said? One of the best things about being independent is that there's no corporate interest meddling with the content. I agree. I agree. She got her own Kim got her own YouTube channel. It's a pretty big YouTube channel too. She got close to a million subscribers. You know what I'm saying? No, this is Kim Iverson's personal YouTube channel. So I agree with her from that aspect, right? And that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to build a good independent media network. Once I get my YouTube channels to where I want them to be at, I'm going to do on the ground reporting. I'm going to have actual fresh information that you can only get from here. Exclusive interviews. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff that I want to do. Actual independent media that don't have any agenda other than getting you all the purest and best information that may have my opinions over it, but you will have the information and it'll be transparent right in front of you. So if you disagree with my opinions, you'll still have the pure information to be able to make your own decisions. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have that in media nowadays. It's just nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Tone. What's good with it, bro?
And of course, we have to dance around YouTube's community guidelines, but beyond that, the actual editorial calls are not being made by some establishment hack. Now, obviously, viewers were very concerned when I joined Rising that this would change.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, not only did that happen, right? Not only did that happen, but then what's old girl's name on the Young Turks? Anna. Shout out to Deneen. What's her name? Anna Kardashian. Ain't her name Anna Kardashian? You know what I'm saying? Anna Kardashian tried to Me Too Jimmy Dore. You know what I'm saying? Now that's I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that. Yeah, Anna Kardashian. You know what I'm saying? Her sisters Kim and Chloe and all of them cats. Oh, Kasperian. Okay. Not Kardashian, huh?
Instead of being my normal self of questioning the establishment, calling them out, thinking outside the orthodoxy, and criticizing our leaders, that I would instead morph into some shill or stay quiet when I would normally speak out. So I made numerous assurances that this was not happening at Rising, that I was free to say what I wanted, and I was free to talk about what I wanted, and that was true. My radars over the past year were all me. I wrote every single one. I didn't have to consult with anyone about what the topic would be or what I would say about that topic. No one edited the pieces. They were 100% mine. No one ever told me what to say or what not to say at Rising. And I know that I made some of my colleagues uncomfortable with some of the things that I would say. And when I did, never once did a manager or producer pull me aside to tell me to tone it down.
You guys remember when Kim was on there and they would be beefing on air? Yeah. Anna accused Jimmy of watching her body. Here goes my thing with that. So what if he did? Let me ask all the women in the comment section a question. Do women dress the way they dress to not be looked at? Like, do women wear nice skirts and high heels so that people look the opposite direction? When women wear a low-cut shirt, do you wear the low-cut shirt so that people don't look at the tit crack? You know what I'm saying? Now, I agree with Sophia sometimes, right? Now, if it's a sweatpants day, or you know what I'm saying, you got some yoga pants on or whatever, and with a sweater or something like that, okay, I get it. That's one of them days, I get it. But if you're coming to work and you're dressing up to look nice. You're dressing up to get compliments. You're dressing up to look good. So if Jimmy Dory happened to be looking over at Anna, and Anna was wearing one of them shortcut skirts that she's notorious for, and Jimmy said, "Hey, let's go out for a drink after we record," that's being a creep. That's harassing. You know what I'm saying? Or he might have got drunk at the company party and said a little bit too much and then apologized after. And then it's just, you know what I'm saying, they go back to work. But now it becomes a creep issue of where Anna doesn't feel safe. You know what I'm saying? Unless Zink is right next to her. Like, man, miss me with the nonsense. I'm not trying to be funny. Anna strikes me as a woman that knows how to handle herself. She also strikes me as a woman that, from the right guy, is going to take all of those compliments and give back. So, like, miss me with the bullshit. We're all adults here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I mean, like, it is what it is. Like, oh my God, I was wearing this sundress where you could see my thong and Jimmy was looking at me. Everybody was probably looking at you. You just happened to see Jimmy looking at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Completely free to say whatever I wanted at Rising. And I did. I said whatever I wanted, most notably openly criticizing the pandemic response, vaccine.
Right. Carl just said if Brad Pitt said something to Anna, it wouldn't be a problem. Right. It wouldn't be a problem until the paternity test. That's when it would become a problem. You know what I'm saying? But like, the thing is that, to me, like, that ain't shit. That ain't no reflection on him. That ain't no reflection on her. It is what it is. Do your adulting. But, like, let's not have selective outrage with it. Like, let's not, because I'm beefing with you, I'm going to try to make you out to be a creep. Like, that's loser juice. You know what I'm saying?
Mandates and Fauci. I still remember the first time back in August of 2021, when I stated that the vaccines don't stop the spread. And I was met with fierce resistance to that idea. Do you remember this?
See,
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand.
See, now here go the thing, Sophia. Like, one thing that women may not know about men, because there's a lot of things that women don't know about men, but one of the many things that they don't know is that when women dress comfortably, a lot of times that looks really good, because there's something about a woman being dressed comfortably that just makes it like that down to earth look. And sometimes that can be better than like some, attention seeking type look. You know what I mean? Just, like hair a certain kind of way, in a casual way. You know what I mean? And like, sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like women be like, I'm not even dressed up or anything like that. It's like, that's the whole point. Like, you're not dressed up and you still look that good. Like, that's the point. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell motherfuckers anything and shit. You know what I'm saying? They don't listen. Roots Strikers, you say that's all you do? Yeah. Men be appreciating that shit. Like, women wear a little workout suit, you know what I'm saying? A little jumper, you know what I mean? A little nice outfit, tennis shoes, you know what I'm saying? Hair up, you know what I'm saying? Go outside the house, double take. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that'll get more attention than like the shit that be trying to get attention. You know what I'm saying? Like 2-story high heels, you know what I'm saying? And saran wrap dresses. You know what I mean? A ring don't matter. They look, yeah, people ain't looking at the rings. That one way that you can get away with that is by not looking at a woman's hands. You know what I'm saying? Unless unless they got like a nice manicure or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Just don't look at the hands. You know what I'm saying? I happen to notice that everything looks nice on you except for your hands because I didn't look at them because I don't give a fuck about your ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can walk up to somebody and say that and see how that works. You know, so you might get slapped in the face, but it'd be like on Scarface when Scarface went over to that kid and said, "You see him? That woman's about to slap him."
Know now that the vaccine doesn't stop the spread, so I could understand maybe doing a vaccine mandate if there was.
It certainly stops the spread. And
It doesn't stop the spread. We know it doesn't. The science is clear that it's not stopping any spread.
My open criticisms of the narrative, decisions around the pandemic, and Fauci brought in millions of views for Rising. Out of all the hosts, COVID and the pandemic response was my topic. All of the viewers knew this. So when I found out Sunday night that Fauci was going to be on the show.
See, I ain't mad at that. See, you're using a black business and manicured pedicures, man. Listen, people can say what they want to. Dudes appreciate the manicures and the pedicures. You know what I'm saying? Any dude that say that they don't, they ain't keeping it a buck.
Show, I was excited. This was a moment I had waited for and viewers had waited for. I had questions that I wanted to ask him, like, does he still support mandates for these non-sterilizing vaccines?
Now, see,
mRNAs not succeeding in it.
Now, see, this right here, this part right here, this stuff that she's asking right here, this is the stuff that she needs to be asking right now. Like, he needs to. Why is he not having an interview like current interviews right now with these questions being asked? I want y'all to listen very closely. All right. Listen very closely to this list of questions that she gives, that she says that she wants to hear answered. And my question for you guys is, are you all interested in the answers of this question? Because I'm interested in the answers of these questions. And the thing is that since he's left and since the C19 has died down, they're not asking these questions anymore. And I agree. Shout out to Deneen. She was going to ask real questions. And these questions are still valid. Let me ask you guys a question. Are these questions that she's asking, are these still very valid, very important questions? If they are, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If they're not, give me a thumbs down.
Sterilizing vaccines, with mRNAs not succeeding in ending the pandemic. Why is he still pushing for them? And many more. I had a lot of questions. But then Sunday night, I got a call from the producers telling me that when they submitted for the interview a couple of weeks earlier, Fauci's team had asked who the hosts were going to be, and they didn't list my name. They told them Batya and Robbie would be the hosts. They said originally the interview was going to be earlier than when I typically show up, and so they didn't think to include me. Now, I dispute this because there have been numerous occasions when a guest who they know I would be particularly interested in talking with is scheduled early, and then they ask me if I want to join to be a part of that interview. Sometimes I say yes, sometimes I say no, but I think obviously interviewing Fauci of all people, it would have been one of those times to ask me. So I told the producers that they needed to go back to Fauci's team and tell them I'm in the interview. And if he won't agree to do it, then we make a segment about that. We say Fauci wouldn't face us, that it needed to be all of us or none of us, especially since the interview had been moved to later in the day when I'm there. So I made it clear that anything other than this would cause the viewers to lose trust in Rising, and trust is what matters most. The viewers have.
There you go again. So now this is what I'm saying about the world being correct, because now what we're dealing with is we're dealing with the same theme when it comes to the media that we're dealing with when it comes to the banks. If they start to lose faith in the media, if they don't trust the reporting, then people are not going to deal with the media. People are going to leave. They're going to go away. They're not going to support it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So basically, everything that we have in the United States is based on faith. It's based on legitimacy. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that that might be one of the reasons why they push religion so much? Because everything is based on faith. So if one of the fundamental pillars of your life is having faith in something, it transfers to every other area in your life. So it makes it easily transferable. Everything is based on faith. Let me ask you guys a question. Is that one of the reasons why we get all of the repeated propaganda of certain things that the establishment, that the government, that the powers to be want us to believe and want us to fear, and things that they don't want us questioning? If you ask me, probably.
Had flocked to Rising for this content, and to let them down like this would just break their trust completely. So they seem to understand this Sunday night. Now, the next morning, as I'm ready to join the show and I'm getting ready to do my radar and possibly interview Fauci, I got a phone call from the executive producer telling me that they had made the final decision to not approach Fauci's team, but to instead move forward with the interview without me. They wanted me to come on the show, record a couple of segments, then ask me to leave so that they could interview Fauci. And
yeah, I agree. I agree with Deneen. Yet the subscriber count remains the same. I think YouTube is artificially inflating Rising's numbers. I think that YouTube artificially inflates most mainstream media's numbers. And I think that they artificially subdue other people's content. Look at my channels. I want you guys look at my smaller channels. Not the channels where I have over 1,000 subscribers, not the monetized channels. Look at my smaller channels. My smaller channels have the same amount of live viewers when I do a live stream as some people who have 1,000 subscribers, as some people who have 10,000 subscribers. But those people that have those larger channels, their channels grow. Look at how long it takes my channels to grow. All of my channels are slowed down and subdued. I should have been had 1,000 subscribers on this channel. I should have been had 1,000 subscribers on news, reviews, and reactions. Before we turned Blacklight Revelations 4 into reacts, I should have been had 1,000 on that channel. Look at how and look at the engagement. Look at the likes. I can show y'all the watch time. It doesn't matter. They don't push my content anywhere. I tried to slow down on swear words and make my streams a little bit more professional. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. The numbers stay the same. And you guys will notice it. You guys will notice. You will notice that as I go live and I have more live viewers, the subscriber number will be the same. People like Katsy, Ulaw, DJ Elmo, they've been around. My subscriber count has barely moved. And and Bron's been around too. I didn't have nobody watching my channel. Now on Blacklight Revelations 2, I can have anywhere from 50 to 80 people. I just got Blacklight Revelations 1 back, so it's still kind of on the low side, but it'll get back up there. But back in the day, before, you know what I'm saying? Like on Blacklight Revelations 1, I used to have between 70 and 80 people on there all the time. And my channel never grew. The number never increases. Yeah, and I agree. And see, Deneen notices it. She notices it. She said they mess with Rob heavy. I always see 232 views for your videos, and I know it's more. It has to be more. It has to be more. Like, there's no possible way that it can only ever end up being like 232. There's been times when I've had like 70, 80 people in there, and they end the stream. There's only 230 people that watch the stream. Like, come on, man. You know that ain't true. But that's YouTube, though. YouTube does that. And then they try to turn around and say that they don't. But they do. You know what I'm saying?
And I expressed that this was a giant mistake, that the viewers would no longer trust the show, that I had told viewers I wouldn't be censored or held back. And how can I go back to the viewers after this and say with a straight face that I'm not being censored or limited? How am I supposed to do that? I mean, there were times in the past when viewers would accuse the show of holding me back or censoring me or limiting me, and it wasn't really the case. It was other circumstances that made it to where I wasn't in the segment. But in this particular case, that wasn't the situation. So what was I supposed to say to viewers after this? How could I say, yeah, you know, it's corporate media, but trust me, guys, I'm not being censored or held back. I mean, up until this point, it was true, but after this, I wouldn't be able to say that. And that would make me a liar, and it would put my reputation at risk because I made promises to the viewers. And so, because of all of this, I am no longer with Rising. Now, I want to say there are a lot of really good people who work at Rising.
So now the reason why I showed this video is because I wanted to go back and highlight the questions that Kim Iverson was asking, and the fact that those questions that she was asking, you know what I'm saying? The questions that she was asking are questions that would have been extremely disruptive to the narrative that was going on at the time. But look at how things have changed. See, what we're going to be talking about for the rest of this stream is how things have changed. We're going to talk about how things have changed. And now that things have changed, you know what I'm saying? Now that things have changed, I think that those questions that Kim was talking about are even more relevant, because the question that we got to ask is what made them backtrack? What made them go back on all of this stuff? All the people that lost their jobs, all the social media, people that lost their accounts. You know what I'm saying? All of the damage that may have been done to people's personal finances and careers. I mean, how is any of that going to get fixed? If you ask me, I think it should get fixed. But how are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? You know? Former CDC director details 3 damning events that raised eyebrows about Wuhan lab and how Fauci iced him. Okay. Dr. Robert Redfield testified before Congress Wednesday, noting 3 suspicious events at the Wuhan Institute of Virology that strengthened his long-held conviction that C19 came from a Chinese lab, a belief he says got him boxed out of transformative conversations. It does get you boxed out of, it did at the time get you boxed out of transformative conversations. You know what I'm saying? Whereas there is now a growing recognition that C19 most likely originated in the Chinese Communist Party-controlled Wuhan Institute of Virology, where dangerous gain-of-function experiments were routinely performed on coronaviruses. Saying so in recent years prompted erosion and censorship. And that's true. And people are still feeling the effects of that today. Like I said, I just recently had to appeal a strike that they issued on this channel because I simply went over a New York Post article that talked about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Redfield, former director of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, reportedly received death threats from his fellow scientists for noting that human error and meddling may have resulted in the spread of a virus that claimed tens of millions of lives worldwide. I was threatened and ostracized because I proposed another hypothesis, he told Vanity Fair. I expected from politicians. I didn't expect it from science. But remember, we're told to trust the science. When addressing the House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic on March 8th, he did not hold back. Redfield noted that there were 3 things in particular that took place early in the pandemic that bolstered his suspicion that C19 came from a lab. First, they deleted the sequences, highly irregular. Researchers don't like to do that. The New York Times reported that early in the pandemic, over 200 data entries from genetic sequencing of early cases of C19 in Wuhan were erased from an online scientific database. The early suspicion was that these sequences were deleted because they revealed that the virus ravaged the world may have been predated and the alleged outbreak at the wet market in December of 2019. Jesse Bloom, a virologist at the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center in Seattle, was able to track down 13 sequences online and determined it seems like the sequences were deleted to obscure their existence. Chinese researchers had requested that the National Institute of Health delete the sequences, and the NIH complied, reported the Washington Examiner. Redfield appeared to suggest that the deletion of sequences took place as early as September 2019. Now, here's my question. How many people were aware of any of that? If you guys were aware of that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys were not aware of that, give me a thumbs down. Second, Redfield said they changed the command and control at the lab from civilian control to military control. Highly unusual. Let me ask you guys a question. Why would that happen? If the lab was under civilian control, why would they opt and change it to be controlled by the military? Why would they do that? What would be the significance of that? Is that a red flag that something strange might be going on? What would that imply? Because that's kind of interesting for them to do, isn't it? That's kind of counterintuitive. What we're gonna do is we're just randomly gonna change things around here. Really? Why? See, like, the thing is that if they make changes and if they do things, the things that they change and the things that they have to do, at the very least, at the bare minimum, they at least got to make sense. You know what I'm saying? They at least got to make sense. In 2021, Representative Michael McCall noted during a meeting of the Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Crisis, new testimony now received by my committee reveals the Chinese military potentially took over this lab, not in January of 2020 as reported, but earlier in 2019. The Chinese military were actually at the facility at the time of 2017. That signals the CCP was worried about something at the lab before the world even knew what C19 was. Why else would they put the Chinese military in charge? The State Department noted in early 2021 that the Wuhan Institute of Virology has engaged in classified research, including laboratory animal experiments on behalf of the Chinese military since at least 2017. Major General Qin Wei, China's top biowarfare expert, formally took over the BSL-4 lab from a local Communist Party committee president on January 31st of 2020, sparking concerns that the virus not only originated at the lab, but was linked to a biowarfare program. Third, which is very telling, they let a contractor redo the ventilation system in the laboratory. So I think clearly there was strong evidence that a significant event happened in that laboratory in September. Let me ask you guys a question. Why would they have redone the ventilation system? What would the significance of them redoing the ventilation system be? That means something. And shout out to everybody answering the Nightbot. Shout out to Roots Trackers. Appreciate it. Redfield ruffled feathers in March of 2021 when he went on CNN and said, I'm of the point of view that I still think the most likely etiology of this pathology in Wuhan was from a laboratory, escaped. Other people don't believe that. That's fine. The science will eventually figure it out. So this video right here is from 2019. Dr. Robert Redfield, the former CDC director, talks about 3 suspicious events that took place at the Wuhan lab in September of 2019. Oh, my bad. This video is not from 2019. This is him talking about these events that took place in 2019.
I will say, if you go back and look, it's declassified now, and I'm sure you all have your classified briefings, but the declassified information now, in September of 2019, 3 things happened in that lab. One is they deleted the sequences. It was highly irregular. So researchers don't usually like to do that. Second thing they did was they changed the command and control of the lab from the civilian control to the military control. Highly unusual, and I've been involved in dual-use labs when I was in the military. And the third things they did, which I think is really telling, is they let a contractor redo the ventilation system in that laboratory. So I think clearly there was strong evidence that there was a significant event that happened in that laboratory in September. It's now been declassified. You can read it. I'm sure there's more classified information around.
So there's that. Redfield told the subcommittee that retired National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Director Dr. Anthony Fauci and former National Institute of Health Director Dr. Francis Collins both sought to push a single narrative about the virus's origins. Redfield noted that he made it very clear in January of 2020 to all of them why we had to aggressively pursue this, and I let them know as a virologist I didn't see that this was anything like SARS or MERS because they never learned how to transmit human to human. I felt that this virus was too infectious for humans, said Redfield. There was a lot of evidence that lab actually published in 2014 that they put the ACE2 receptor into humanized mice so it could infect human tissue. I think we had to really seriously go after the fact that it came from the lab, and they knew that that was how I was thinking, although we had to go after both hypotheses. Even though Redfield helmed the CDC at the time, Redfield intimidated, Redfield. Well, let me see. Hold on. Yeah, intimidated. Wait, hold on. I can't read that word. Intimated. Redfield intimated that Fauci elected to not involve him in the controversial February 2020 conference call with top virologists on account of his insistence on a possible lab origin. The Blaze previously reported that Fauci appeared keen to push the zoonotic origins of theory, both on the conference call and in the correspondence that followed. According to congressional investigators, just days after the call, Fauci commissioned an influential 2020 study saying COVID-19 was not the result of a Chinese lab leak. How many people remember that? If you guys remember that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't remember, give me a thumbs down. Because that happened. You know what I'm saying? So now the question then becomes, who is accountable for this stuff? Who is responsible for the situation that we're in now? The former NAID director also reportedly edited and provided final approval for the document, which he later cited on the national stage without noting his involvement. Redfield revealed he was not made aware of his exclusion from the conference call or the call itself until the correspondence was released following a FOIA report. When asked why Fauci and others excluded him, Redfield answered, because I had a different point of view, and I was told they made a decision that they would keep this confidential until they came up with a single narrative, which I will argue is antithetical to science. This was a priori decision, and that's one point of view that we're going to put out there, and anyone who doesn't agree with it is going to be sidelined, Redfield told Congress. And as I say, I was only the CDC director, and I was sidelined. Okay, so let's listen to this right here.
Dr. Redfield, I want to stick with you. You have said before that you were locked out of conversations about the lab leak by Dr. Fauci and Dr. Collins. Do you think they kept you out of the conversations because you believe COVID-19 may have come from a lab?
Yeah, I think I made it very clear in January to all of them why we had to aggressively pursue this. And I let them know as a virologist that I didn't see that this was anything like SARS or MERS because they never learned how to transmit human to human, that I felt this virus was too infectious for humans. There was a lot of evidence that lab actually published in 2014 that they put the ACE2 receptor into humanized mice so it could infect human tissue. I think, we had to really seriously go after the fact that it came from the lab. And they knew that that was how I was thinking, although I thought we had to go after both hypotheses. And I was told later, I didn't know I was excluded. I didn't know there was a February 1st conference call until the Freedom of Information came out with the emails. And I was quite upset as the CDC director that I was excluded from those discussions.
Why would they do this?
because I had a different point of view, and I was told they made a decision that they would keep this confidential until they came up with a single narrative, which I will argue is antithetical to science. Science never selects a single narrative. We foster, as my colleague here just said, we foster debate. And we're confident that with debate, science will eventually get to the truth. This was an a priori decision that there's one point of view that we're going to put out there, and anyone who doesn't agree with it is going to be sidelined. And as I say, I was only the CDC director, and I was sidelined.
Now, the thing that's interesting about this whole thing is that one thing that social media and one thing that the mainstream media was very adamant about, they were adamant about making sure that if anybody said anything slightly different or doubting the narrative that was put out by the mainstream media, they made sure to attempt to discipline you, or they made sure to attempt to shame you or deter you from saying things. The people that have been subscribed to me for a long time know that I used to have a TikTok account, and my TikTok account had a lot of subscribers on it. It got deleted because of a news clip that I posted about C19. It was just a news clip. It didn't have any commentary over it. It didn't have no edits. All it was a 19-second news clip, and it was a 19-second news clip that CBS had put up. They removed it, or they removed my entire TikTok account. So now here it says Fauci, who has been accused of lying under oath, dismissed Redfield's claims as completely untrue and nothing to back him up with. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, like Fauci saying that it's completely untrue. Well, why is it untrue? Because I said it's untrue. And that's facts, Sophia. TikTok is owned by China. So after all of that, right? Now look at this. Look at this. This is what we have right here. C19 could stem from risky experiments at Chinese lab. Fauci. So looks like he's changing his tune. Why would he be changing his tune? Why would he change his tune? This dude has changed his damn tune. So now here it says C19 could have been the result of risky experiments at a laboratory in China, Dr. Anthony Fauci acknowledged in an interview over the weekend. A lab leak could be that someone was out in the wild, maybe looking for different types of viruses in bats, got infected, went into a lab and was being studied in a lab, and then came out of the lab, said Fauci. Now, this is interesting, right? It's very important that Fauci phrased this like this, because what Fauci is doing by doing this is he's taking both sides of the argument, because what he's doing is he's making a hybrid zoonotic and lab leak theory. What he's saying is that somebody left out of the lab, the event that created this happened outside, and then it was brought back in the lab and everybody got infected. He's not saying that it was quote unquote manufactured in the lab. Y'all see what he's doing there? He's playing word games with this answer. So he's not really changing his position. Basically what he's saying is like, yeah, you know, somebody went outside, got something, went back in the lab, and then he spread everything that he had in the lab. Do y'all see that? Do y'all see what he's trying to do there? A lab leak could be that someone was out in the wild, maybe looking for different types of viruses in bats, got infected, went into a lab, and was being studied in a lab, and then came out of the lab, Fauci said. The former director of U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. The other possibility is someone takes a virus from the environment that doesn't actually spread very well in humans and manipulates it a bit, and it accidentally escapes or accidentally infects someone, and then you get an outbreak. Okay, well, what do you mean by someone takes a virus from the environment that doesn't actually spread well in humans and manipulates it a bit? What do they mean manipulate it a bit? Yeah, he's very creative. And I agree, that's worse. Our lab is sloppy. Big facts. Shout out to Robin Ann Battle. Word salad. Yeah, with bacon bits. With bacon bits and ranch dressing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so he's actually saying this. You know what I mean? The first COVID-19 cases were detected in 2019 in Wuhan, China, where a high-level laboratory is located. Scientists at the lab were funded in part by the NIAID. Fauci, speaking on CNN, claimed that he's quote unquote kept an open mind as to the origin of COVID-19. However, he was involved in a paper that alleged in early 2020 that said SARS-CoV-2, which causes COVID-19, was not a laboratory construct or a purposely manipulated virus, and cited the paper from the White House when asserting that the virus had a natural origin. When a number of experts told Fauci privately around that time that characteristics of the virus pointed to it being engineered, evidence that later emerged strongly suggested a natural origin, including two 2022 papers in Science magazine, Fauci said on March 11th. But strongly suggesting, Jim, doesn't nail it down definitively. And that's the reason why I say to this day that I will keep an open mind as to know what the origin is, Fauci said. Neither Fauci nor natural origin theory proponents have identified an animal host, which is necessary to establish their position. So my question is, how have they been able to maintain their position? You know what I'm saying? How have they been able to maintain their position then? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment, smash the like button. Also, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell icon twice so that you get all the alerts. And also make sure that you subscribe to my backup channels. Take a moment, go down the line, hit the bell icon twice on each of those backup channels. So now here it says neither Fauci nor other natural origin theory proponents have identified an animal host, which is necessary to establish their position. Chinese authorities, meanwhile, have blocked investigators from the Wuhan lab, which was cut off from U.S. funding after not sharing its data with U.S. officials. Let me ask you guys a question. Why was the United States working with the Wuhan lab, knowing our relationship issues that we have with China? I don't think anybody's actually asked that question yet. Why were the United States and China working together? Does that make any sense? That's kind of weird. Some U.S. intelligence agencies say the current evidence supports origin being a laboratory-associated incident, while others are in favor of natural origin theory. While lab incidents have occurred in the past, no lab leaks have led to pandemics, Fauci said. There have been accidents in labs that happens intermittently. We've had experiences with that in modern times, but there has never been a situation where a virus escaped from a lab. That's a brand new virus that no one has ever seen before that's led to a pandemic, he said. That's never happened. So what? Like, all you keep doing is saying that that's never happened. What you're not saying is that it's not impossible. That's what you're not saying. All you're trying to say is you're just trying to give history, and you're continuously giving that history to get people to not ask questions about the present. Okay, like, Okay, clearly like that hasn't happened yet. Keyword being yet. You know what I'm saying? CNN did not ask Fauci about a newly published email that he said prompted the drafting of the 2020 paper. Fauci was speaking after Dr. Robert Redfield, the former head of the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, told a congressional panel that the evidence points to the Wuhan lab. Redfield cited how the Wuhan lab deleted sequences, how the lab was under military control, and how a contractor redid the ventilation systems there. So this is the same thing that the Blaze was saying. TD said, shout out to the master teacher, Elder Rob. You understand me? You understand me? You understand me, young blood? Reaction to calls for prosecution. Let me ask you guys a question. Who should be prosecuted? Should anybody be prosecuted? Who should be prosecuted? Hobbs says the CDC. They want to prosecute Fauci over false statements that he's made. Then what Fauci said was that there's no response to that craziness. I mean, prosecute me for what? What are they talking about? I mean, I wish I could figure out what the heck they were talking about. I think they're just going off the deep end, he added. So you, despite the fact that you were being questioned by Rand Paul and being questioned, all these people were questioning you and all these repeated questions, you have no idea what anybody's talking about? He said he doesn't know what anybody's talking about. I don't know what anybody's talking about. Sorry, guys, I can't help you. I don't even know what you're talking about. Look, he doesn't even know what you're talking about. He doesn't know what you're talking about, TD Hip Hop Media. He's talking to you. He doesn't know what you're talking about. You know how you respond to that? He's finished. He's done. Let him know what's going on with his career. It's over. You know what I'm saying? You act like you don't know what we talking about. We're gonna make it real simple for you. You're finished. Now you know what we talking about. It's over. You know what I'm saying? He's done. You know what I'm saying? Or simply cooked. You know what I'm saying? Senator Rand Paul has referred Fauci for prosecution, telling members of Congress that the United States did not fund gain-of-function research in China, despite documents being made public that experts say show that the U.S. funded experiments led to gain-of-function in a bat. In a bat coronavirus. I don't. Oh, okay. In a bat coronavirus. Yeah, that's what they're saying. In a bat coronavirus. All right. Senator Rand Paul has referred Fauci for prosecution, telling members of Congress that the United States did not fund gain-of-function research in China, despite documents being made public that experts say show that the United States funded experiments that led to gain-of-function in a bat. The U.S. Department of Justice has not charged Fauci, who left around New Year's. Twitter CEO Elon Musk is among others who have called for the prosecution of Fauci. I bet you Elon Musk typed a tweet that simply said, prosecute with 3 exclamation marks after it. Prosecute him or lock him up. You know what I'm saying? At a one time Elon Musk makes sense. Facts. If you guys agree with Deneen, give me a thumbs up. The Biden administration should be held accountable as well, mandating experimental treatments that cause no immunity. If you guys agree with Deneen, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Such statements have a difficult effect and a deleterious effect on my family, Fauci said. Hey, listen here. I mean, they don't like to have me getting death threats all the time. I don't think most people like death threats, but when you do things and it creates a public outrage, it kind of goes with the territory of being a public figure. I mean, every time somebody gets up and spouts some nonsense that's misinformation, disinformation, and outright lies, somebody somewhere decides they want to do harm to me or my family. So that's the part about it that's really uncomfortable. If you ask me, Dr. Fauci is just using his family as a deflection shield. He doesn't want to be asked any questions. He doesn't want to be asked any questions. Now, if you guys think that Dr. Fauci is the only one that kind of went back on their word, how many people know who Gretchen Whitmer is? If you guys know who Gretchen Whitmer is, give me a thumbs up. You guys know who Gretchen Whitmer is? There was a plot to kidnap her. I don't know who would have plotted to kidnap her or why, but there was one. And most of those guys got off, despite the fact that there was lots of evidence that they had planned it. Michigan governor admits some COVID-19 restrictions didn't make a lot of sense. Now, which ones didn't make sense? Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer admitted over the weekend that Democrat leadership in the state imposed more C19 measures than were actually needed. Well, the damage is done now. Would you guys agree that the damage is done now? I mean, she shouldn't even said nothing. What's the point of saying something this late in the game? Just so y'all know, you know what I'm saying? We did a little bit too much during C19. Just so y'all know, you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit late. In April 2020, Whitmer issued an executive order that barred most stores from selling gardening supplies, including seeds and plants, to Americans growing their own fruits and vegetables. Why would she have done that? Why did she do that? What do that have to do with anything? Look at this. In April of 2020, Whitmer issued an executive order that barred most stores from selling gardening supplies. That means that you couldn't buy any hose in April of 2020. Why would she do that? In April of 2020, hose were off limits because Whitmer wanted to issue an executive order that bars most stores from selling garden supplies, including seeds and plants, to Americans growing their own fruits and vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the hose. You know what I'm saying? In a sit down with CNN's Chris Wallace on March 12th, Whitmer was asked about Michigan's tough lockdown policies, which were some of the nation's most strict. There were moments where, you know, we had to make some decisions that in retrospect don't make a lot of sense, right? I don't know if that's really the best answer she could have given for that question. I would have probably taken a different approach. Yeah, I agree. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, a lot of places did that. Anything not essential was considered banned at the time in those places. Canada did it too. Yeah. In the UK, they did the same thing, Sophia. God forbid the UK made me unable to grow my own fruit and vegetables. They did the same thing in the UK. Boris was tripping during that shit. I remember. He was on the news every damn day too. People said, oh, she outlawed seeds. It was February in Michigan. No one was planting anyway, she continued. But that being said, some of those policies, I look back and think, you know, maybe that was a little more than what we needed to do. So let me ask you guys a question. So now that the government has reevaluated this and they said, you know what? We might have gone overboard with this. What about all of the businesses that were affected? How many businesses went out of business? How many establishments tanked as a result of this? And now they're going back and said, you know, whoops, our bad. And on top of it being our bad, we ain't gonna fix it neither. Like what? And on April 9th of 2020, Whitmer's office published a list on the state's website that included items Michigan officials deemed not necessary to sustain or protect life, and thus could not be sold during the height of the pandemic. The order stated that companies had to block areas of stores through various means or remove non-essential items, including gardening items, but also many other goods such as carpeting or flooring material, furniture, and paint. Just weeks after Whitmer imposed the statewide controversial ban, the order was rescinded due to widespread backlash, including from the Institute for Justice. In a letter, the nonprofit law firm criticized the governor's unconstitutional prohibition for impeding the rights of many Michigan families who seek to grow their own food. The order correctly recognizes food and agriculture as critical infrastructure and accordingly permits grocery stores, restaurants, convenience stores, and other food-related businesses to continue sales, subject to reasonable health and safety restrictions, the letter adds. So that's interesting. That's a great question, Hob. What do you guys think? Hob says, was this really a plandemic? That's a great question. What do you guys think? Do you think this was, or do you think that it wasn't? My question is, why was all of this like this? And now we're going back on things. Now we're going back on things. At the same time, however, the order appears to prohibit sales of plants, including vegetables, fruits, and herb plants, it added. That differential treatment, permitting grocery stores to sell vegetables, fruits, and herbs, but prohibiting nurseries and garden centers from selling plants so that Michiganders can grow their own vegetables, fruits, and herbs does not make sense. Whitmer's sweeping order also included a ban on travel from one residence to another residence, including vacation properties, rental properties, or second properties inside Michigan. So that's kind of crazy. And I'm kind of curious as to what kind of repair they plan on doing, because they clearly messed up people's livelihoods. How many people know of a business that wasn't able to sustain and it closed down during the COVID-19 pandemic? You guys know any businesses that failed during COVID-19? I know a bunch of businesses where I live at, a bunch of my favorite businesses, favorite restaurants, favorite places to hang out. A bunch of those closed down. They're no longer open. They've gone bankrupt. They're closed permanently. They were private owned, mom and pop businesses, clubs and bars, places that I like to kick it at, gone. Places that I like to eat at, gone. Little stores that I go to, gone. Now they're going back and saying, well, sorry we accidentally messed up your business, but we did too much. That's not cool. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Who wants to hear that bullshit? After you've lost your life, you've lost your life's work, your life savings. You know what I'm saying? Something that you might have had planned on passing down to your kids. It's all gone because they made a bad decision. You know what I'm saying? We're about to watch this real quick, this little snippet right here. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, please make sure you take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell and subscribed, please do your boy a favor, hit that bell and subscribe, and also share the video out to your social media. Share it to YouTube, or yeah, you can share it to YouTube, share it to Twitter, share it to Facebook, share it to Reddit, share it on Discord, share it everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
This is not an amazing revelation. I mean, this was a virus we've never seen anything like before. They claimed it came from a wet meat market and it was a bat, and yet we've never seen anything that was actually natural like this. And certainly there should have been a thorough discussion. Certainly we should have had a president that was strong enough to speak with China, to really tell the World Health Organization to stop lying to us, to tell big tech not to, to let people actually tell the truth and not to repress those that really know what's going on, or at least have a vision of what's going on. Dr. Fauci, I mean, the American people are sick and tired of being lied to, day after day, week after week, year after year. And this is just another example. People were punished for this. Some people lost their job if they had a different opinion than the really wrong opinion that was being put out there.
Yeah, some people got their social media accounts struck. Carlton said, how did Arby's survive the pandemic? Nobody eats that stuff. Y'all don't like Arby's? Y'all don't mess with Arby's? How many of y'all mess with Arby's? If you mess with Arby's, give me a thumbs up. If you don't mess with Arby's, give me a thumbs down. Y'all got to try that chicken, bacon, and Swiss sandwich. I don't really eat the roast beef all like that. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But that chicken, bacon, and Swiss, that bad boy go hard though. AB Promotion said he like Arby's. Yeah, the chicken, bacon, and Swiss go hard, man. They got another one. It's another channel called the Chicken Cordon Bleu. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Torian Rain. What's good with it, bro? We are live on one of the variant channels. Facts. All of the mutations. You know what I'm saying? They all reactivating. Carla said, according to Frontline, everything was planned. Banking, job losses, food shortage, supply chain backup. That's interesting, Carla. Let me ask you a question. Do you think let's just say that's true. Shout out to Mama Zeke. Let's just say that that's true. Do you think that is like a first step in an attempt to set up economic conditions for a chain reaction further down the road? Because think about this. Think about everything that you said in here, right? Banking, job losses, food shortage, supply chain backup. All of those things are elements that would set off an economic chain reaction. You don't eat at Arby's? That's all right. I ain't mad at you, Carla. I'm telling you, I don't really eat Arby's all like that neither. I've eaten only the same sandwich from there every time, except for when I was a kid. I used to have to eat the what was it called? The beef and cheddar sandwich that they had. My parents used to get that beef and cheddar because it was like you get 5 of them for like They was like Taco Bell priced. You can get 5 of them for like $5. You know what I'm saying? That was like enough to feed the whole family. But I haven't had one of them beef and cheddar sandwiches since I was a kid. Just the thought of the beef and cheddar sandwich with all the memes that my mind has been polluted with on social media, I can't bring myself to come near one of those things. I can't do it. I can't do it. If I unwrap a beef and cheddar sandwich, I will be traumatized. You know the one thing that you're missing out on from Popeyes? You remember Christopher Perkins when he was like, Carla, you better eat that damn Popeyes in the comment section on Just Talking with TD and Rob? We was like, what the fuck? Chris, you good, bro? But Popeyes got this cinnamon apple pie thing. That cinnamon apple pie thing is great. Let me tell you, I don't know what they put in it, but it's got this buttery taste to it. It's like apples and cinnamon and butter. And when they hot, like when they serve them hot, man, listen. Listen. At 2 o'clock in the morning, and when you at work, when them bad boys go hard. When them bad boys go hard, it's like apple pie with extra cinnamon on it and brown sugar. You know what I'm saying? DJ Elmo said the World Economic Forum said we will be happy when we own nothing. We should do they might mess around and take my channel, so I might have to do a stream on this, like on members only, or like just I have to make up a fake channel and then do a video on Patreon about it. But we should do a whole live stream about the Agenda 21 and the Sustainable Agenda 2030. What do y'all think? I think that'll be a good live stream. And then we should do a live stream book review of Behold a Pale Horse. What do y'all think? If y'all down for that, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, listen, Linda. Listen. Like Apple Crisp. Yeah. Like, oh man, it's actually better than Apple Crisp. I'm telling you, when it's hot and the steam be coming out of it, whatever that apple syrup stuff is that's inside of it, it's got like this butter taste. And it's a whole lot of sugar and cinnamon on the outside of it. Man, that thing tastes so damn good. Matter of fact, I might mess around and go get one. I'm about to mess up my whole day. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to go up the street and go grab me one of those. Popeye's the type that'll really mess up your day, though. You will go up there and it'll be like noon and they won't have any. Oh, we out of those. It's only noon. How y'all out of them? We ain't got none. And then everything else that you order, they don't have none of that neither. All right, well, let me get a shrimp and fish basket. We ain't got none. Okay. Can I get some lemonade? The machine down. All right. Then they start cutting you off after you guess like the third thing. Like you open your mouth to say something like, let me get some red bean. We ain't got that either. Like, all right. They be on some bullshit sometimes at Popeyes, man. They be on some straight garbage at times at Popeyes. So now here it says, lawmakers and other prominent figures tore into Dr. Fauci after the Energy Department concluded that C19 was likely leaked from a laboratory in Wuhan, a theory the former White House chief medical advisor repeatedly rejected. And we read this article already, so I'm not even about to go all the way through this one. But this article, it definitely backs up what we had talked about before. So my question is, where do we go from here as far as C19 goes? Where do we go from here? You know what I'm saying? Now that they're going back on all of the stuff that they said, do you all feel that the United States should do something to attempt to reinstate those businesses? What about all the people that lost their social media accounts, or all the people that might have gotten content removed, and now the very content that they got removed is the main thing that they're saying? Yeah, they ain't had no red beans and rice. I don't like their red beans and rice though. You know what I'm saying? At Popeyes. I had it one time and it wasn't popping for me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really like it. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker says everyone has either had it, is vaccinated, or if they are at risk or dead. Yeah, I agree. But what about the economic damage that the decisions that the government made caused? Right? Because we can all agree that some of the incorrect decisions that the government did led to poor outcomes, right? It led to economic damage, and it led to businesses being damaged, right? So what should be done to attempt to rectify that? Anything? I bet you they'll say that they don't need to do anything because they gave out stimulus, and the stimulus should make everything whole. I bet you they'll give some type of explanation like that. What do y'all think? Hobbs says the damage has been done. Yeah, I agree. I think that not only has the damage been done, but the damage is so widespread. The damage is so widespread that I don't think there's any way that they could effectively fix it in a timely fashion to save a lot of those businesses that were lost. Deneen said, my mother hasn't caught it yet. She's 90. It's crazy. I believe it. There's some elderly black women who are like 98 years old that got their full faculties and can still walk around. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker says there's always economic damage or helpfulness on every single decision made by the government. It's the cost of being a U.S. citizen. I thought tax was the cost of being a U.S. citizen. We got to deal with that on top of taxes. we got to deal with that on top of taxes. It's getting a little bit expensive now. You know what I'm saying? I didn't sign up for that one. I didn't sign up for all the mistakes. There are some people who are immune to it. Yeah, I agree. And there's some people that it doesn't affect in the same way too. DJ Elmo said Blacklight, is the Popeye chicken the real deal, given they now sell lab-grown meat? Nah. I don't never order no chicken from Popeyes. You know what I'm saying? You know where I get, like, a lot of times where I get my chicken from? I'll get my chicken from places that I buy a dinner from. And if I don't get the chicken from the places that I buy a dinner from, I get the chicken from pizza places. And I'm not talking about wings. I'm talking about like actual chicken, like actual drumsticks and thighs, because I like drumsticks and thighs. I don't like breast. On chicken, at least. You know what I'm saying? I like drumsticks and thighs. You know what I'm saying? Deneen said she only likes seafood. I like seafood too. What kind of seafood you like? You like scallops? I like scallops. You got to know how to cook them right, though. But I like scallops, though. U.S. chicken is so questionable. Yeah, U.S. chicken is questionable. I heard that once the UK left the EU, that the UK drastically dropped their food quality standards since they're no longer a part of the EU, because I guess the EU had like economic block wide food standards, and a lot of people was upset about that. I don't know if that's true or not. DJ Elmo or Sophia, if y'all could let me know if that's true or not. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker says there was evidence that prior exposure to a common cold provided about the same or better immunity as the you-know-what. That's interesting. I like salmon. Yeah, shrimp is good. I like clam chowder, but I don't really mess with clams all like that. I like lobster. You know what I'm saying? Crawdads taste good, too. I rock with some crawdads. Did he end up donating the blood, Carla? I wouldn't have donated it if I was him. This immunity gonna die with me. And I'm not volunteering my body to science either. and trust me, I'm doing the world a favor. You know what I'm saying? Don't you want to be a hero and save the world? You could donate your blood to science and save the human race. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? We had a good run and we ain't doing shit these days. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. They'd be all right. It's time for something else to take over. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what I would do. The whole world would be mad at me. Like, you gonna for real not sign a scientific body release? You're just gonna die. Yep. And on top of it, I want to get cremated. Figure that shit out on y'all own. You know what I'm saying? No heroes here. Facts. We embrace villainy. You know what I'm saying? If anything, I'm gonna stay out in the sun a little bit extra, see if I can develop some cancer cells and then and then donate blood. You know what I'm saying? You know, here go a fresh batch, you know what I'm saying, of O positive. O positive for contagion. You know what I'm saying? You had some scallops yesterday, Unsunken One? Yeah, I love scallops, man. Them bad boys go hard, especially in some hibachi. You know what I'm saying? Scallops, salmon, and lobster go hard all in the same hibachi meal. You know what I'm saying? Cut a check for my family pre-donation. They ain't getting my blood, Janine. But I feel you though. If you're gonna donate, get the money. You know what I'm saying? Definitely get the money if you're gonna do it. I ain't doing it. Please, Rob, you could save mankind. I am saving mankind by not giving it to y'all. Trust me. I'm just saving it. I'm just saving y'all in the artificial intelligence type of way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saving mankind in the artificial intelligence kind of way. Because, you know, you ask artificial intelligence a question, how do we get rid of world hunger? Get rid of humans. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? How do we get rid of C19? Get rid of humans. I'm not giving my blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, this could be the end of civilization as we know it. That's a good thing, right? Because everybody hates it. Like, it's not fair. It sucks. You know what I'm saying? There's groups of people like black people that are oppressed. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's doing anything to fix it. And every time we say something about it, nobody's listening, but everybody says that they want to improve the world. Okay, well, here's my contribution to improving the world. It'll be empty. Now we've got equality. Carlton said, Brother Rob, no, we can't be eating the swine and shellfish. Understand me? Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, you don't have to eat the swine and shellfish. I don't eat pork though, and it's not because of any jail babble. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't eat pork because I just don't like pork. You know what I'm saying? I do eat some bacon once in a blue moon though, but like ham, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really like ham all like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, they got that's part of the kosher diet. Like, they got that out of the Bible, and they got that out of the Quran. Those animals that crawl on the earth, and I forget how it goes. Some of the animals that have like a single hoof or a double hoof or a split hoof or something like that. Those animals that you ain't supposed to eat, according to the Bible. There may be something to the biblical diets, though. There may actually be some kind of optimal nutrition component to the biblical diets. I just don't think that if there is, humanity is not smart enough to translate it. That part of the Bible has been removed, or the person who wrote it and transcribed it didn't transcribe it properly because they weren't as advanced as where they were getting the information from. Because honestly, if you ask me, like me and TD actually talked about this before, I have a different theory about quote unquote religion. I actually think that the Bible is a misinterpreted science textbook. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in all of the supernatural stuff, but I do believe that what's actually written in the Bible is actually advanced science that people didn't understand at the time. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker said there is something to it. Science. They concluded everything bad to be the devil. And see, like, I don't believe in good or bad. That to me, like that, good and bad is like a control. It's a control construct that people have been programmed with. I don't believe in good or bad. What's good versus what's bad? You said they didn't have a hibachi. FN Mecca got a hibachi right in his Gucci Rolls Royce. Every time the grill come on and play Florida Water. Now Gunna's out of jail. You know what I'm saying? He could actually perform it live. Oh, if you eat this and get sick, it must be bad, aka the devil. Yeah. The pig is a dirty animal. It doesn't sweat and it eats its own waste. Man, that's nasty. You know, pigs actually are one of the few animals that manufacture vitamin C because it's got the enzymes. You know what I'm saying? Gullah Jack said probably the diet at the time because they couldn't cook or store it properly. Didn't the Bible diets have ways to store food, if I'm not mistaken? But now check this out though. Would you guys consider fasting a biblical diet? Because many people in the Bible fasted, and fasting has a specific effect on you. See, like, think about this, right? In most of these different stories, right? Like, because one thing that I do is I compare stuff across the board to see what elements repeat, right? And one thing that repeated is that every time before there was supposed to be some type of quote unquote divine intervention, whoever it was that was supposed to receive that intervention always had to fast. Now, why you think that was? Was there something to that? Why did those people fast? Did you guys know that fasting enhances your abilities and your central nervous system? It also improves your reaction time and makes your body more streamlined and efficient. So maybe there's something to that. AB Promotion said, I fast every day. I feel it, bro. There's some people out here that involuntary, you know how it's involuntary, people that are involuntarily celibate, those incels. There's people that involuntarily fast. You know what I'm saying? That's called going hungry. Where are you going today? Hungry? Oh, the country? Nah, I mean, I need something to eat and I ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? You're going on vacation? Nah, I just ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? I'm broke. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going cold turkey. Oh, you going to cold turkey, huh? You talking about Istanbul? Nah, I mean, like, I don't have no more money to buy no Newports. I'm going cold turkey. Why do you keep thinking I'm going on vacation? After I told you the first time, when I'm going hungry, that I don't have no damn money. Yeah, it'll keep your metabolism normalized at a certain rate. You know what I'm saying? It also increases your GFR. If you ever get a lab that's called a BMP, it increases your GFR, which makes your kidneys work more efficiently. But like I said, though, man, I actually think that the Bible is talking about a lot of technology. You know what I'm saying? That people weren't able to interpret properly because they didn't have a frame of reference for it. Just like crystal balls, you know what I'm saying? Like people always talk about crystal balls and shit. I think that crystal balls were an advanced projection machine that people just don't know how to re-engineer, because TVs today have liquid crystal graphics in them. They have liquid crystal display, LCD. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, I got a whole, and honestly, like, my whole theory actually goes all the way through down to today as far as dealing with racism and white supremacy. Racism is nothing but a social eugenics program. You know what I'm saying? Once people start to wake up and understand that racism is a social eugenics program, maybe then people will start to understand about the approaches that people need to take in order to deal with it. See, like right now, we deal with a lot of outdated ideology. We deal with a lot of stuff that sounds good, but hasn't really done anything significantly. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me ask y'all a question. Like, let's say, for instance, you're standing in front of the Atlantic Ocean and you pick up a rock and you throw a rock into the ocean. Is that going to do anything? What does that do to the ocean if you throw a rock into it? Have you caused any damage whatsoever? The reason why I say that is because if you ask me, the approaches that we've been using and the approaches that we use currently are equivalent to throwing a rock into an ocean and then stepping back and saying, look at all the damage that we did. You didn't make any damage. Like, you made waves, which is what you see like now. Like, we make waves. Like, when it come to George Floyd, you know what I'm saying? We made waves. But now in 2023, Tyree Nichols happened. So what damage did we actually do? But let's say that you had like a tiny, let's say you had like a tiny little particle and you shot that particle at light speed at the ocean. That particle is smaller than a damn rock you just threw in there, but that particle will eradicate all of the water in the ocean. That's efficiency right there. I don't think the stuff that we're doing is efficient. Honestly, like, it's not that I don't know that it's efficient. It's not efficient. Look at the results. We're still doing the same thing. We're still fighting for the same thing. We're still fighting simultaneous battles for the same thing. We're not fighting for improvement. We're fighting for basic living conditions. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker said Yakub. I don't believe in any kind of like supernatural stuff or religion, but let's just assume that Yakub is real. Let's make that assumption and say that Yakub is real. The world's still correct, because if that theory is real, which I don't believe, he created the problem. And if people believe that he created the problem, still ain't nobody out here saying F Yakub. You know what I'm saying? No, but I feel it. I feel it. But I'm just saying, like, but think about it though, because like even in that instance, right? Like let's just say that there's some truth to that, because just because I don't believe something don't mean that it's not true. I don't know if something is true or not. That Yakub story could be 100% real. I just don't believe it. But I could get proven wrong at any moment, right? Like any moment I could get proven wrong. Even in that story, look who did it. Yakub did it. He did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the one. It was his bright idea with his big ass head. Under that extra large cranium, that's what he did with his brain power. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker said, you said before you didn't believe it. I was just messing with you because y'all were tripping so hard on it when I said it before. No, the Yakub theory be cracking me up, man. It be having me dying laughing. And then like the pictures that be drawn of Yakub, those be even more hilarious. But the thing that's interesting though, like, right, like when it comes to the Nation of Islam, is a lot of their historical accounting as far as like quote unquote events and dates, man, it's pretty accurate as far as like 6,000 years and things like that. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. But let's take it even further though. Let's just say the Yakub theory was real. It still points back to an advanced form of science, because allegedly Yakub was a genetic scientist. He was a genetic engineer. So we're still in ancient times working with advanced science, which is what I said, like that the Bible is a misinterpretation of advanced sciences. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that anything is supernatural at all. But I could see how a lot of things that people think are supernatural could be plausible through advanced science. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he had a Squidward head. You know what I'm saying? With nothing in it. Yeah, he had a hollow Squidward head. You know what I'm saying? And messed up the world in his spare time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm doing a video about that later, Deneen. That boy that got decapitated. I got all the stuff up on the screen right now to do it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and see, like, that's the thing. Like, I try to look at everything from a science standpoint. So, like, although I might not believe in like mythicism or whatever, I will try to look and see, well, is this scientifically plausible? You know what I'm saying? Because like there's a lot of theories that lead to that talk about quote unquote possible engineering. Yakub ain't the only one. Yeah, he said tricknology. What kind of tricknology was he under? You know what I'm saying? What kind of tricknology was he under? That whole tricknology thing is interesting too, for a lot of different reasons that I choose not to talk about here. but that's interesting though. Just the quote unquote notion of tricknology is just interesting. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I know that's what the doctrine said. Do you think that politics is a is a synonym for technology. If you guys think that politics is a synonym for technology, give me a thumbs up. If you don't think that, if the two are completely unrelated, give me a thumbs down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was decapitated. Yeah, those streams are still up, DJ Elmo. I got to link up with Izzy, man. He been busy. We've been missing each other all the time. I got to get him up in here. If y'all not subscribed to Reality Check Virtual Radio, Blacklight Revelations, make sure y'all subscribe. We've been missing each other, but we gonna link up again. But guess what I'm about to do? Guess what I'm about to link up with next? The bed. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. I hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. All right. I hope that you guys got something out of it before we went on tangents and start talking about food and Yakub and all kind of insanity. You know what I'm saying? The Yakub diet. Don't eat pig. Don't eat shrimp. Don't eat all this. Don't do anything that I do. You know what I'm saying? Don't do anything that I do. You know what I'm saying? And you'll possibly be good. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Moxie just posted something about Raheem Carter. That's the boy's name that got decapitated. You know what I'm saying? He looks real young. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Hold on real quick. Let me see what they're talking about. He was 25 years old. He looks really young, though. He looked younger than 25. It takes an entire fight to get hate crime charges on these things. But if you just look at some of these other people funny, they give you hate crime charges. I'm telling you, man, one of these days, people are going to have to wake up and understand that there's only one way to deal with the issues that we have. And step one is to embrace villainy. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Again, if you're not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. Hit the bell icon twice. Check out my other content. Check out the backup channels. Share the video out to your social media. I appreciate you guys, and I will catch you all on the next stream. All right? Peace.